What is it doing?
We were having some technical difficulties earlier, but it's funny as you're trying to figure it out. I'll vamp a little about nonstick versus carbon steel because I, unlike most food people, prefer nonstick skillets. I know food people like to use their. I have to invite him back. Um, they like to use the carbon steel or like the carbon pans where you. Oh, there he is. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, I'm not using my good camera plug-in. I'm using my regular whatever.
It's fine. It looks great. I was just saying, like, I don't use cast iron or carbon steel, even though I have them to cook eggs, because I know that, like, yes, you're supposed to season them, and yes, it's like if you're doing it right, the eggs won't stick. But I just love a nonstick skillet. I just got to say, even though it's giving me cancer and killing me,
Ah,
I just love it.
well, it's that thing. Like once I had kids, like
That's
I
true. You don't want to
started
kill
to
your
be like,
children. Okay.
I was like, all right, you kind of start to like, follow through on the things that you think are true, and dive in on it more. I dive into some of the stuff in my Substack too, like learning
Yeah.
about this with, talking to air quality experts from UCLA and kind of learning. I was like, what are the big ticket things that actually matter versus the things that I feel like are bad? But the thing I love about carbon steel is you can really beat the hell out of it. Like when you use a
Yeah.
spatula, if you throw it on an induction burner, set it to like a 2, just like while you're starting your morning, it'll just preheat perfectly by itself. You kind of get yourself together. Then the eggs it's a dream. I love it. It makes it so much easier.
And I did when I was experimenting. I did take like a normal stainless steel skillet, and I just put a ton of fat in there, like a ton of
Yeah.
olive oil and butter, and then the eggs come right out. You just need a lot of fat.
Well, even stainless steel, if you preheat it right, it becomes
Yeah,
pretty nonstick, but it's like a
yeah.
pain in the ass with stainless steel to get it right. But I find with carbon steel, it's much more forgiving. And you can kind
I
of
know we're
like,
dwelling on this, but my other issue with my carbon steel is it smokes up the kitchen. Like it's so
oh, yeah.
greasy and has so much baked onto it that it just like fills the kitchen with smoke.
Well, not to be air quality dad, but this is something I dove into because I was thinking about this. In LA, we had the fires. So we all became like armchair air quality experts for a while. And one of the things I did was I talked to this air quality expert from UCLA to kind of go, all right, like, if I cook in a wok or I cook and it smokes up the house, I'm making a pork chop, you know, it does matter. And like I would see that like we've got these like air purifiers in the kids' rooms that are usually like at a 3 or a 4 when you go to bed at night. They were up to like a 75, like
Wow.
literally 2 hours later with the hood on and the windows open in another room. And turns out that's about. But the good news is there's turns out way worse stuff we don't even realize, like dry cleaning, scented
Ah,
candles,
okay.
formaldehyde in our built-in drawers. So there's plenty of stuff that'll kill us other than our cooking. And at least the
And
cooking brings more pleasure.
you have a really good hood. I actually have no hood in my kitchen. I don't know if you can see, but there's no hood, just a window behind it. All right, we've
You
got
got
to
to
move
open some
on to
windows in
the.
there.
Yeah, okay. Number two, what is the oldest item in your kitchen?
So the truth is, it's probably a book because I have a bookshelf.
Oh, that comes later, but
Yeah,
we'll sneak a peek. Okay.
but and so I pulled to try to find the oldest book that I had. And I think it's this, which I bought at a thrift store in, I forget where now, thrift store somewhere.
Oh,
It's this old
cool.
original beard on pasta. And I wanted to share a recipe with you that I'll tell you what would not win a beard award now if it was up for it. This recipe for, I don't know if you can see this, Chinese noodle soup.
Oh,
The ingredients are canned chicken stock, Tabasco, soy sauce, and Chinese noodles.
that sounds very not good. That doesn't sound good. That would not
Tabasco
win a
is
beard award.
Tabasco famously
The
created
famous
the
Chinese ingredient, Tabasco.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's yeah, that's from
It is funny
yeah.
because I have some James Beard cookbooks and I've never been tempted to cook from them, but
No.
I have it on good authority. Maybe I shouldn't share this, but somebody who knows Bette Midler told me that she only cooks from James Beard cookbooks.
Wow.
So
I
think
hope you
about
were gonna
that.
say like they like hooked up in the 70s or something.
That too, but he was gay, which actually makes sense because she was Bette Midler. Okay,
Yeah.
number three. What is something given to you by a loved one that's important to you that you keep in your kitchen?
I tried to be smart and like really prep my stuff out. Also, I found a lot of my stuff is kind of heavy, but
Somebody's
this
insulted you. They said the oldest item is you.
oh, that's my mother-in-law.
Okay.
She's in Naples, Florida. She and your parents can hang out together.
Oh, they're in Florida. Okay, cool.
So this is a fermenting crock from I think it's Ohio Stoneware. My wife bought this for me, and it's amazing. So it's like it's got these weights in here, and if you're gonna ferment something, you may as well ferment a lot of it. It's not that much harder to ferment a giant batch of sauerkraut than it is a small batch, and it'll last you for years if you store it right.
I have
So
to ask you a question because, like,
yeah,
you are really into. I loved your cookbook, "Don't Panic Pantry," which you wrote after
thank
the
you.
pandemic with your wife. And there's a lot of beans in there, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
fermented things, and it's all fiber is your thing. You love fiber.
Well, it's not that I do, I like it, but to me, it's when I did a bunch of research on like
Yeah,
human health and nutrition and stuff, and reading like metadata studies of like millions of years of data essentially, but lots of people. Fiber is the number one thing that we are not eating enough of
yeah,
across the board that decreases all cause mortality by about a third. So like
right.
cardiovascular disease, heart disease, basically it's people like to joke that it's like, oh, now you're gonna shit a lot or better.
That was
But the
my
truth is,
question.
it's about making the machinery run properly. It's like getting an oil change in your car. And if you eat beans and it like wrecks your body, it means that you're definitely eating enough fiber because your body's not sure how to process it. And the more you eat it, the
Oh,
better your body will get at processing it.
because
Like,
my
I'm sure there
actual
are people with different
yeah,
conditions, and I'm sure that's I know you've got health stuff, so I'm not an expert on
yeah.
everybody, but in general, we are not eating nearly enough fiber.
My question is a very sophisticated one that is almost like Mike Wallace level of sophistication in the sense that I'm going to ask you: are you guys farting all the time? Because that was my question. It was like if I ate that diet of beans and sauerkraut, I would just be farting all day.
No, I mean, I think normal amounts.
What?
My wife farted more when she was pregnant than she
Okay.
was from a high fiber diet. And
Okay.
it's all balance in all things. It's like just trying to make sure it's incorporated more into your diet and more of a part of what it is. It's like I think about all these people who are just like protein obsessed,
Yeah.
like Manosphere, Rogan, like workout dudes who just are like pumping iron and just like crushing chicken breasts and like elk liver, and it's like they look like old beautiful cathedrals in like Europe that have crumbling infrastructure. Like the inside is a
Wow.
disaster of broken pipes, and the outside looks nice.
I like that. All right, I'm gonna eat more beans now. But number 4, that was cool. I like that. So what is that called? This a fermenting jar?
It's a fermenting crock. I think it's called Ohio stoneware or stone mason
Uh,
stoneware, I think. And it's just a beautiful, yeah. So you can make a huge batch of sauerkraut in there, and sauerkraut's great. It's just cabbage and salt and thyme.
I should do it. Okay, number 4. What is an ingredient that you have that most people don't have in their kitchens?
So, trying to think about this. Sometimes I've got a bunch of goofy stuff going on. I mean, the answer right now is probably like stuff from the farmer's market, like these
Okay.
beautiful spring onions I got right now. Here, I can show you those.
Yeah. This is what
So,
I'm
like,
most jealous of about leaving LA is the farmers market because you
oh my
guys get
God,
the best stuff. And I went yesterday to the Union Square Farmers
I
Market
mean,
and it was nothing there.
like, look at these beautiful
Uh,
lettuces. Look at these gorgeous, these are sweet onions with these beautiful long greens up. It's delightful. So, that's probably my answer at the moment is incredibly good farmer's market produce.
that's a good answer. Yeah, I really miss, especially the citrus in LA. The citrus was incredible.
Oh my God, I have so many JJ's citruses right now. I've got tangelos and tangos
Wow.
and two kinds of blood oranges and
Wow, don't rub
oh,
it in. And
just
we used to have a Meyer lemon tree next to our apartment. So, and now in like
you
Union Market has like $1.50 a Meyer lemon.
you left of your own free will.
That's true. I don't regret it. Number 5, what's your favorite serving dish or plate in your collection?
Um, I'm not that good at that. I wish I was better at that, but
Okay.
I will. So I ate some dirty lettuce. I will say I was recently in Italy with my mom for her 70th birthday, and we were in Vico Equense, which is like near Sorrento, and they had these beautiful
Ooh,
little hand painted bowls of different colors. And I feel like when you throw parties, you want to have little things for olives and
yeah,
nuts and dips. So I
those are
like doing
great.
that. I like these a lot. It's like the first time it's like I'm a straight guy who didn't care about things other than like flavor for most of my life. And it's like only recently have I discovered the pleasure of like, oh yeah, having flowers is nice. Like having a nice dish is good.
And
Or
going on
like,
vacation and like traveling. It's funny. I'm looking right now. I went to Oaxaca 2 years ago for a friend's birthday, and I bought this little dish that has like a
oh
chicken on it,
yeah,
and
that's
you can
great.
put like honey in it. So it's like I have these little souvenirs from my travels as I go around to different
Yeah,
places,
like
which is fun.
it took me 40 years to realize to discover that there's a smell I like that's not a food,
What is
and
it?
it's eucalyptus. So now when I buy like soap, it's like, you know what, eucalyptus is nice.
Yeah, yeah. It's like sandalwood was in the early 2000s. Now it's eucalyptus.
Yeah. Also, growing
Um,
up in California, you have a lot of like eucalyptus trees, so it's like a very like childhood memory core
I wonder
smell
if I would
thing.
know the smell of eucalyptus if like it was presented to me because I can't think of
Do
it
you ever
right
go
now.
like hiking and like in like Malibu and that stuff? It's good. It's good you left. If you're not even doing that, then what are we doing?
Yeah, I left because of hiking. Like, I hated hiking so much. Nobody told me when I moved to LA that you would have to hike all the time, and I
Well,
didn't
that
like it.
the
New York
city
is called
hiking is the
walking.
nightmare.
Yeah, no, I
But like
love walking
city
through the
hiking in
city.
LA sucks. But like in LA, it's like Runyon Canyon, where it's like a jacked person dog parade on like a dusty hill with no shade. That's a bad.
No words made me wanna leave LA more than Runyon Canyon.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's I agree that that's awful.
Round 2, the everyday. Now we're gonna learn about your everyday habits and things that you have every day. Starting with, what is your favorite cutting board?
Ooh, another big one. I don't know. I feel like I guess because I've got a barbecue background. Um, this one I got. It was
Oh,
given by Booze, but it's a cutting board with this little grease catch at the bottom.
oh,
So when you
that's
cut,
brilliant.
so if you carve like brisket and stuff like
Yeah,
that, it sort of put it down to it's 4,000 pounds. So when you
yeah.
carve like a smoked brisket, you can catch all the fat and use it to make a barbecue sauce or whatever. And also, when we did our cookbook sheet at my house, that was the cutting board that the wonderful Carrie Ann Purcell, who's the stylist for the show for the shoot, used, and she would use it as like a trash bowl. So she would chop
Mm.
stuff, put it in there, and be able to have like. So it's a great cutting board, even if you don't cook a giant piece of
And then
brisket.
the fact that it has that, like, border where it catches the juices too, because I have a booze board. Wow, this is heavy, and mine does not have, any of those things on it, and I
Yeah,
should
and
be, like, oiling it more.
well, yeah, definitely, yeah, you got to do that. You can buy like a big thing of like
I
mineral
don't.
oil from like Amazon and just do it
I
that way.
have it. I have it somewhere. Okay, number 2, what is your go-to plate or bowl when you just wanna grab a bite?
So it's again not the best at this stuff, but I think it ends up being this one I bought in a little Japanese market.
See, you're funny because, like, you keep, like, downplaying your bowls, but you have awesome bowls from Italy, and now you have an awesome Japanese bowl.
Yeah, I think I might just have these, and that might be it. And the rest is like, white plates from Cost Plus.
Okay. There you go. Well, that's a good one. I liked it. Number 3, what is something in your refrigerator left over from your last cooking session?
So I barely have anything left over. My mom is sick, and so I had made a
I'm
bunch of
sorry.
lentil soup, and no, I mean, just not like in a
Oh,
terrifying way, just in
right,
a.
right.
But she
Just
lives
like a
down the
normal way.
street, and she's a little under the weather, and so I made lentil soup and polenta last night, and so I gave it all to her. But I do have about this much left of aglio olio of like three different ends of a box of pasta that I made for my kids the other day.
How
So
old are your kids?
2 and 4.
Oh, okay. They're very young.
We're in it. Yeah, we're fully in it.
I always have leftover pasta. I have like sausage and ragu from like a week ago. But yeah, I make way too much pasta. That's my issue. But kids love pasta, as I've learned through my niece and nephew.
Yes, although yeah, it's and my thing with kids is the moment you realize the moment you think you've got it figured out and handled it, you're done. It's changing already.
Are
But
they
speaking of it,
adventures? Oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was going to say for if you want to follow along on my journey of the shame of having an entire career built out of making food for people that they enjoy, and the shame of being rejected by your children on a regular basis, I'm writing weekly recipes on my Substack, which you can subscribe to here on Substack, and
Yeah.
it's a fun place to see some of this stuff. But you're asking if they're adventurous eaters, and it changes all the time. Like when they're really little, they'll eat anything, and
Hmm.
then they kind of get picky again, then it comes away. So it's like I've been a big believer in the idea of don't reinforce what they say they don't like. Just know that tastes change and try again in 6 months.
But are you of the belief, like, because I've witnessed this now through my friends who have kids and my niece and nephew. It's like it seems like there's two philosophies. Like one is you cater to your children's desires, or you just present them with food and you're like, this is what you're getting. If you don't want to eat it, don't eat it.
Yeah, I try to be the latter, but sometimes you fail.
Right.
I find that I cater breakfast. I'm like a short order breakfast cook. My
Okay.
daughter has like farmers market, yogurt and berries and like cereal. My son eats like 16 eggs because he's a giant 2 year old. But then at dinner, it's like, here's dinner, and you don't have to eat it if you don't want to, but that's it. So if you don't want to eat
Right.
anything else, if you want to have snacks and fruit and stuff later, then we can do that. But this is dinner, and if you're hungry, you'll eat it.
That's really good.
Um,
I think that's a good way to do it. Um,
yeah. So and then sometimes it's chaos, and you figure it out. But in general, that tends to be the system.
okay, number four. Oh, I'm curious about this one. What's something in your kitchen that is distinctly your wife's and not yours?
So this one is kind of a funny one, and it's this restaurant-sized container of cinnamon because like anyone else, we make coffee in the morning, and my wife loves a criminal quantity of cinnamon on her coffee, on like some steamed milk on her coffee, and
Okay.
so I'm just like buying large quantities of cinnamon, and just like that'll last probably 3 months. And then we'll move on to the next one. And I've never used cinnamon for almost anything unless I'm like making a rare dessert.
Have you ever done burlap and barrel cinnamon? It's really good. Maybe for her
It
birthday, you
is.
can get her some. Yeah.
It's too small. They need to like get a restaurant depot size.
Yeah, it's that's good. I mean, it changes like your perception of cinnamon once you've had it.
Absolutely.
Okay, number five. What is the ingredient that you go to again and again to give things that Noah gluten flair?
This is a tough one. I was struggling with this because I feel very basic, but I mean, the
Yeah.
true answer is probably olive oil and garlic. Is like
Mhm,
the basis. Like I grew up with like an Italian American mom and so like that's like the start of so much of my cooking. But
mhm.
like I find that like yeah, olive oil, garlic, lemon juice, soy sauce,
Soy
tamari,
sauce. That's not
tahini.
Italian.
No, so those end up being like the ones that end up kind of sneaking in and kind of crossing into other weird realms. There's a tahini vinaigrette I make a lot. That's like this kind of weird hybrid, and it's like tahini, olive oil, sesame oil, red wine vinegar, rice wine vinegar, and tamari. And it balances perfectly. It almost tastes like a peanut sauce, but it's bright and acidic, and it works on like a macro bowl, or it works with like soba noodles.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a good little like umami nutty slammer.
Do you ever cook from Hetty McKinnon's books? Because she has a great recipe that's like a chili crisp mixed with like tahini and then like
Ooh,
soy sauce. And it's like you put it on noodles. It's like one of the best things I've ever had. So
that
yeah,
sounds
I'm all
great.
here for that. Your mom, is that your mom saying great questions?
That is my mom. That's right.
Oh, hi,
I got my
Nancy.
mom.
I hope you feel better. I hear you're sick, but not in a serious
So,
way.
so I've got my mom and my mother-in-law in the room. It's perfect.
Oh, wow. Okay, tough crowd. Okay, round three. Let's get random. What is the weirdest thing in your kitchen? And I feel like you're going to have a good answer for this because you have a lot of weird things.
Well, all right. I'll give you two options, and you can tell me which one's weirder.
Okay.
Here's the first one. Is this weird?
What is that? I have no idea what that is.
This is I'm writing a cookbook right now with Sarah Minnick, who's this incredible James Beard nominated chef in Portland, Oregon, who makes some of the best pizza in the world. And one of the things she also makes is ice cream. And so we use like a pizzelle maker to make like a whole wheat waffle cone,
Mhm.
and then you roll it on this for ice cream.
That is
So
funny too. It looks like it could be many things, and a food
it
thing is
does.
not one of them.
But the other one is probably this, which I use all the time, which is a German oat flaker. And I buy whole
Oat
oat groats
flaker?
and I flake fresh oats for oatmeal. So I buy whole oat groats from a small farm, get them shipped here, keep them in the freezer, and talk about things that change your perception of an ingredient. When you buy like really good, like organic whole oat groats, and then you flake them fresh and make
Yeah.
oatmeal with it, it's like if you had only ever had pre-ground black pepper your whole life, and then you got a
Yeah.
pepper mill, and you're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to taste like. It's I started doing it again because of Sarah Minnick sent this to me for a recipe we're working on,
Wow.
and I started doing it. And like now my kids, if I make regular like Quaker oatmeal, they actually literally won't eat it because they don't think it tastes
You're the oat groat goat.
good. Yes.
Thank you. But wait, I have a question. So when you flake the groats,
Yeah.
oat groats, and they come out, does it look like just rolled oats?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But instead of, because when they process rolled oats commercially, they're also steaming them as part of it because it kind of stops them from going bad. It's that whole thing that happens with so much of our food system. If you look back at like the way that it all happened, the reason that we have so much white flour that's hard to digest is when you start removing things that go bad, it dulls flavor, it dulls
Mm-hmm.
nutrition. And so, but the good news is in 1935 in Biloxi, Mississippi, you can have wheat that's going to sit on a shelf for 2 years and not make you sick. But the other side of it is you don't have all the nutrition that goes with it. So when you take like,
Mm-hmm.
whole wheat and you remove everything that goes bad, you're removing everything that's good for it too. So I'm a big believer in like keep your whole wheat in the freezer because
Yeah.
it's that's like a thing I've been told is that people associate kind of a rancid taste with whole wheat because for our entire lives we just kept one bag of whole wheat like in our pantry for 3 years and it
Mm-hmm.
goes bad. And so if you keep it in the freezer, it'll last longer. So
And
yeah,
how
it
do
just
you? Yeah,
basically flattens it, and then you
I was
just
gonna
cook it
say
like
like, but
regular rice.
how do you cook it? Like, what do you do?
Water and water, water and heat. I'll put a little butter and salt in it. I'll just
Okay.
do literally like my favorite is like if you can do it, if you want to be the fanciest boy in town, it's good, really good oat groats to get them from Janie's Mill in Illinois, and then flake them, cook them, do it with like a nice like cultured butter and some like flaky
Mm.
salt, and it's the best oatmeal you'll ever have in your life.
You know what I do with my oatmeal that I learned from Ruth Reichel's newsletter years ago is I toast it. So I put it in
Oh
the
yeah,
skillet, and I
that
toast
works
it
well
so
with
it's
this too.
in a dry skillet, like or in a dry pot. Like I just get it
Yeah,
really toasty, so it smells like popcorn, and then I add the water and stuff. Somebody
I
wants to see it again. They want to see your oat groat machine. Okay,
so this is called the Flick
flick flop.
Flock.
Yeah.
They are back ordered right now.
Oh,
They're made in Germany, but they're amazing, and I highly recommend finding. Like you can always kind of try to find them through weird like hippy dippy websites and stuff, but it's a huge game changer for me. I like it a lot.
and could you flake oat groats in a food processor or like in another type of machine? Like, do you have to have a
Not
flaker?
really. So yeah, you kind of because it's essentially if you look, I don't know if you can see this. There's basically two little kind of gears, so it's really flattening it. And if you use it, so if you put it through like like a flour mill, it would make oat flour. Put it through a food processor, it'd be kind of closer to like a steel cut oat, where they
Mm,
get kind of because steel cut. Think about it, like if you look at an oat grow, if it looks like this blown up, it's like a football. If you flake it, it gets flattened, and if you steel cut oats are basically sliced, so
I
that's why they
see.
take longer to cook. So the more flattened they are, the faster they cook. So yeah, that's I would say you're maybe better off I don't know individually hammering each one. That's not worth it.
We've been talking about this for so long. I feel like I should change this show to oat groat talk.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay.
It stays in line with my fiber evangelism.
Oh, yeah, yeah, fiber. Let's not talk about that again. Number two, do you have any
Yeah,
art
don't
hanging in
stay
your
alive. There's no
kitchen?
reason.
Yeah, staying alive.
Uh,
Yeah, art.
I it depends on how you define art. Uh, does this count as art?
Does it ever? That's better than the fancy art. What does it say? Happy what? Happy birthday?
Happy birthday. I don't even know who that was for. Maybe
Okay.
maybe her brother. But
And
my
Eliza drew that?
yes, yeah, for me for my birthday.
Oh, that's
She
so
worked at
sweet.
it for a very long time.
Yeah, well, she's got a gift. Okay, number three. Okay, now this comes back to something you showed us earlier, but now I'm curious if you'll take us to look at it. Do you keep any cookbooks in your kitchen?
Yeah, let's
This is
take you
dangerous. This is
for
bad for me because whatever you have, I'm going to go online afterwards and probably try to buy. So don't have
so
anything too good. Are they
I've
color
got a
coordinated?
they were at one point my wife kind of got into that. So it's I've got a bunch of stuff. A
I
nice
see
array of
Solo's book.
cookbooks.
I see, let's see, what else do I recognize? Texas Barbecue.
Get you
Oh,
closer because it's
Masala. Oh, wow. Those are some good books. And do
some of
you,
them are underneath my laptop. that I was holding up.
Dolce, that's Renato's book. Pasta. Oh, two pasta books. The Food Lab. Yeah, these are all really good. Do you have a book in your collection that is
These
like,
these ones I wrote, which is fun.
oh yeah. Do you have one that's like unusual or like one that most people don't have or something that like
Um,
if your shelf was burning, just their shelf,
oh,
would you what would you
there's
grab off your shelf?
let's see. I mean, some of the old ones, like these old like
Oh
Marcello
yeah.
Hazan cookbooks, I
Sure.
love. This Elizabeth David book is great. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of that stuff. My favorite cookbook that really taught me about Japanese cooking is this one,
Oh,
Japanese Cooking: A Simple Art by Shizuo Tsuji. It came out in, I
okay.
think, 1980 or 1982, and it's almost like an academic guide to understanding Japanese food, and it was really incredibly educational for me, and I learned a lot of basic rules of Japanese cooking from that book. It's like the original Japanese textbooks that taught people, the classic stuff, and, even in it, he talks about, like, now, I know that you may think that eating raw fish sounds barbaric, but I promise in Japan it's very popular. And like little did he know, like 6
He's
years
explaining
later,
it.
it's
Yeah.
just like everywhere.
You know what's funny is like I've cooked so many different cuisines, like from Indian to Chinese. I've never cooked Japanese food, and I think it's because it's so simple and like elegant. Like it's just like
Mhm.
everything is just so pure tasting, and it's not how I cook. Like I just like dump
Well,
things and
I
like
think if you
stir
thought
things.
about like
Not that you
Japanese
don't
home
stir
style
things.
cooking,
Yeah.
you would unlock it pretty quickly. The hardest thing for me with a new cuisine is always like the pantry restock. And are you
Hmm.
going to commit to it enough to have the full jar of,
Yeah.
coriander seeds, whatever it is? But Japanese cooking, really, if you buy like sake, soy, and
Yeah.
mirin, that's like the core of most Japanese cooking. And the other side of it is like if you want to make your own dashi, you buy the dried kelp and the dried bonito
Yeah. We
flakes,
have that
or
here
you
because
just buy instant dashi.
our sitter is really into Japanese food, and he brought me this gift from Japan, which I think is a blood orange soy sauce. I don't know what it is, but I have it in my
Delicious.
kitchen. Yeah.
Put that on some
Okay.
raw fish. I'll bet it'll be great.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna try. I have some Japanese cookbooks, so you've inspired me. Here's one that you need in your collection that my friend. Actually, I found this in a thrift shop, but I feel like your mom might get a kick out of this, even though she's Italian. How to cook like a Jewish mother.
Well, my mother-in-law will definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. What else do we have? Okay.
I always joke that my mother-in-law should open an all-you-should-eat restaurant, and she just tells you, "No, you're not having that."
Number 4, do you have anything fermenting in your kitchen?
Not on purpose at the moment. I often am fermenting
Not on
things.
purpose. Are you accidentally fermenting something?
Well, I have the closest thing I have is I have some very old starter that I haven't fed in a long time.
Yeah, I do too.
But yeah, yeah, not at the moment. As you can see, I'll use this big fermenting crock here for like, I'll like lacto ferment a bunch of peppers to make like a big batch of hot sauce. I kind of tend to ferment in like big batches.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, we're getting into summer pepper season, so maybe it's like get a case of Alex Weiser cayenne and make some hot sauce kind of a situation.
I should try to do that. I've never made hot sauce, but I aspire to. So I've pickled peppers before, though, which is really fun, like pickled Fresno chilies.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Those are great. Yeah. Okay, number 5 is the really big question. Do you have a favorite utensil?
The answer is probably, to be honest, here it is. I have two answers. One is I think a fish spatula is just really underrated as the best spatula, unless you're making like a smash burger or working
Hmm.
as like a griddle cook at like a turn and burn diner. This one, if it's got more flexibility, it has
Yeah,
space to grab stuff. You can really get into the pan better, and it's like cheap,
I
and they
have the
just
same
work so
one.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love mine.
exactly.
You know what I got for Christmas and Hanukkah one year from Craig was this is what the Barefoot Contessa uses.
Oh
I like
yeah,
literally looked it up. I love it because it's called
that's
Lamson is
great.
the company, and it's just so you just get it under all the things on a sheet
I
pan.
want like a griddle to go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And what was your other utensil?
This, which I think is one of the most underrated tools in a kitchen. It costs no money. It's a little rubber scraper for your dishes. And the number of times I've ruined a sponge or a dish brush getting melted cheese or
Hmm.
oatmeal crud off the thing. And this is just you just kind of scrape it off. It won't damage your pans, and it makes cleanup so much easier. And you can really
Wait, how
scrape
do we
stuff with it.
find this? What is it called? How do I Google this?
It's let's see.
Are you gonna Google it right now? Well, you can't
It's
Google
like
and talk at the same time.
a dish scraper.
All right, you'll leave it in the comments when I post this on Substack, so you can
Yeah,
tell us.
look up like an OXO. That's not it either. Hold on.
Because I feel like a
We'll find it.
scraper, like yeah, because they have the ones that are for like making bread dough, which I've seen, like where
Yeah,
you like. Well, okay, maybe we'll do this live because people want to know.
we're
People
doing
are
it.
watching this
We
and
got to
it's
get
like
the
they're
info out.
burning with it, with them interest. But I actually that sounds great because I'm always scraping things off my pans. In fact, I just made eggs this morning and I put a sheet pan on top to set the eggs and it got egg all over it and it was all gross and I was like scrubbing with a sponge. So
And there you go. And that's the trick is you got to be able to, or
I
maybe I
feel like
will
this is
have
going to
to
be a hard thing for you because you don't know what to Google. It's like, what are you going to Google? Like special
by
sheet pan scraper,
maybe
or
my order history.
oh, okay. Wait, don't yeah. Let's.
Just,
What else is in your order history while we're on the subject?
well, a very nice soy sauce.
Okay.
I like to buy like a nice organic, Kikkoman soy sauce on, and you can buy
Yeah.
that. You know, it's like that little thing with kids where you try to figure out like, how do I, um, uh, what are the things that actually matter? All right, I'm going to stop Googling this thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's,
we're losing
all
followers by the second. People are just
right.
dropping off like flies. Okay, we're gonna go to
Well,
round four now. The drill. This is where we're gonna learn all about your go-to everyday items like olive oil, etc. So let's start with olive oil. What is your go-to olive oil?
so I typically kind of believe in having like a workhorse olive oil and like a nice
Hmm.
finishing olive oil. At the
Sure.
moment, I have a different one, but yeah, I often buy the Partana one on Amazon. It's a huge tin of olive oil, but in general, I find that buying the big tins is generally the just one I have right now. Kind of just
Oh,
try different ones out, see what works well,
that's a
and
good
you kind
idea.
of look at the price per ounce, and then I just fill up little squirt bottles with it as
Yeah, I should
needed,
do that.
and
I have
it's
this
just so much
like
cheaper. And then
pretty little thing that I sometimes
yeah,
fill, but I've been buying
although
like my favorite is Frantoia. Do you ever use Frantoia?
no, I'm in.
When Mario Batali, before he got, canceled, this is what he used to use on his show. So I started buying it. And oh, it's called Williams Sonoma Epicurean Disc Scraper, according to your
There we
mom.
go.
Thanks, mom. Yeah,
Um,
I started using Frantoia, which is like a very robust,
ooh,
flavorful oil, but it's expensive now. And prices have gone up since the, tariffs have kicked in. So,
there's some good California olive oils I'll buy from time to
yeah.
time too. It is they're out there. But yeah, I
Okay.
understand. I look at the price per ounce and then look at the reviews on the big cans, and they kind of change and fluctuate. But you can sometimes get a good deal on a huge thing of olive oil.
It's funny when you talked about whole wheat going rancid because I don't think I have a taste for like when things are bad. Like I leave my olive oil in the window, which you probably shouldn't do, and it's like I don't know if they're
Suboptimal.
bad. So I feel like I need to work on my ability to detect rot.
The can in the heavy shade, you keep that so it's in the cool kind of dry place in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Then you have like a little squirt bottle you just kind of refill.
Oh yeah, I should do
I
that.
love those. I love the gorgeous olive oil bottles, but I've done that before where you buy like the opaque ones, and then I never know
Hmm.
when I end up either underfilling it or pouring it out the side.
Okay, number two. What is your go-to salt?
So my go-to salt for everyday cooking is just this. Um,
Oh, that's not what I thought. I thought you were going to go Diamond Crystal Kosher.
I you know I used to be that guy, and then another like Sarah Minnick, just like this kind of salt is like kind of better for your body. It's not as processed. Kosher salt I use for specific stuff, like if I'm doing like seasoning a steak or a whole chicken and leaving it overnight to like to basically cure slash dry brine overnight in the fridge, where you can kind of go heavier on it and know you're not going to oversalt it for like a piece of meat. But it is kosher salt is actually koshering salt. They would use it to kosher meats. That's why
Hmm.
it was going to all that stuff. But the sea salt thing, it's just a better for you salt. It just takes you have to have a little bit more of a hand on it. And then I'll usually buy like a big tub of
Oh
the
yeah,
Malden. I usually have a smoked Malden laying around somewhere too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
So you got finishing salts. So I typically have like three or
What do you
four
use the
salts laying
smoked?
around.
I have this smoked Malden. I got it as a gift, but I never know what to do with it. What do you do? What do you use it for?
It's just a great finishing salt if you want to add a little bit of extra smoky flavor to stuff. It's great with
Mhm.
seafood. I find it's great. Like if you cook a steak and you didn't have time to like salt it for a full day in advance, and you just like salt the outside, grill it really quick, and then carve it and lay it out. A little smoky salt on it kind of gives it some of that backyard
Okay,
kind of wood smoke flavor to it.
I like that.
If you like smoke, it's a good one. I think it
What
goes
is your
well with like scallops too.
okay, scallops, that's good. I can do that.
Yeah,
What is your go-to vinegar? I know there's a lot of options, but what
a
is
lot
the
of
one you use
options.
most often?
I probably use red wine vinegar the most, and I
Okay,
just buy whatever is not
Colavita.
$1 million. Colavita, I've used the Whole Foods one in times. I
I
love a
really like this
champagne
brand.
vinegar.
Yeah, do you ever get this brand, Terra Medi? It's really good. It's like a
Oh,
white wine vinegar. It's kind of almost a little sweet.
mm.
Um, but I have red wine vinegar too,
I use a lot of
from
rice wine vinegar also.
the same company. Actually, have you tried Tart? I just bought these. They're not cheap, but they're this company
No.
Tart. They ferment them themselves, and this one, and they all have like funny names. This is True Romance vinegar, and it's
Mm.
sour cherry, rose, lemon verbena combined for a fruity, rich, complex sherry flavor profile and a hint of soft, sweet almonds.
Yum. You mind if I answer a question in the comments?
Yeah,
Sandra
thanks.
Burton is asking Bruton. Sorry,
Bruton, that's
Bruton
a
is
family
asking.
friend. Yeah.
Oh, really salt steak a day in advance. So I say with steak, there's two ways to salt it. Either you salt it right before you're going to cook it, or you salt it like a full day or a few hours in advance. And what that does is the salt will start to penetrate through, especially with thicker cuts of steak. It'll penetrate through and actually season it all the way through. It also dries out the surface of the steak and you leave it uncovered in the fridge overnight, just like you would with a chicken. As it dries out the surface, you'll get better flavor, better color, and it won't kind of dry out. But if you salt it like 30 minutes before, that's just going to extract moisture from the steak, and then it'll make it really hard to get good color on it. So
Hmm.
either far in advance or right before.
Right before. That's good advice. I know that like a lot of like chefs will like get like a chicken or something and like season it like days in advance or just like season it
Yeah,
and put it in the
it's
refrigerator, let it dry
if
out.
you buy like a cheap mediocre chicken and you salt it for 2 days in your fridge, it'll taste
Yeah.
better than most fancy chickens you didn't do that to.
What is your go-to coffee? We talked about coffee earlier. So what brand do you use?
So my wife, I'm very lucky that my wife is somebody who often gets sent free stuff. She posts about coffee a lot, and she'll go to coffee shop. People will send her copies. We've had a lot of great ones. Um, the there's like three answers, I guess. There's the down and dirty when we need it in a pinch, and we enjoy Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Just buy the whole beans, do
Whoa,
it
did
that way.
not see that coming. Talk about processed. I thought you were like
Yeah,
Mr.
no, but not the
Purity.
flavored ones. Not the
Okay,
flavored ones.
okay,
Just
still.
straight up. It's just a solid bean. They roast it not too dark. But then my actual favorites here in LA is Be Bright. They do an amazing
Okay.
job with coffee. And then my friend, we spend a lot of time up in Seattle. My friend owns a company called Cafe Vita, and they're the
Okay.
largest independent coffee roaster in the country. And their stuff's incredible. So I drink a lot of that when I'm up there.
We're a Stumptown family.
Sometimes great.
They're really good. Your go-to soy sauce, we talked about that earlier. Is it Kikkoman?
Yes, it is typically Kikkoman. I often buy this like kind of organic version because
Oh,
I want to pretend that
nice.
that's better for my kids. Um,
Yeah.
but also, I want to shout out Heydo, the
Mhm.
Clarissa Wei's kind of like small batch produced Taiwanese soy sauce that she's an amazing food writer. She wrote the book Made in Taiwan, and she has this
I wonder if it's the one
incredible
I just got.
soy sauce that they make in Taiwan from like
Oh yeah, I
really
have
high
that. I
quality
have that in my
ingredients.
refrigerator. It's so good.
Her stuff is delicious. Yeah, I highly
Wait, I
recommend
just
that stuff
realized
as
like
well.
I need to have children because you've discovered a loophole because like you can buy really expensive ingredients and say it's just for the kids. I want the kids to be safe. Like I just
Well, I don't know. I mean, the soy sauce is not as big of a deal, but I think about stuff like I believe that sometimes we care too much about the stuff we put on top of something versus what the main part of it is. So, like,
Mhm.
we'll like buy organic broccoli and serve it with like cruddy commodity pasta or a bunch of like mediocre rice. And they're eating tons of rice and pasta,
Mhm.
and then they'll have like a couple bites of organic chicken or organic broccoli, but the bulk of what they're eating or the bread you're eating. So I think about that. I think it matters more to spend your money on like the base ingredients, the pastas, the rices, the breads. So like I'm now the dad who like I go to a really good baker here in LA, Roxana at Friends and Family. She has a
Mhm.
high whole wheat percentage in her doughs, and I buy bread and I slice it and freeze it that day, and I have amazing bread ready to go in the freezer versus like all these preservatives and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like I always say, if I'm going to give my kids sugar, I want sugar to be the worst thing they're eating. Like
How
if
do
I
you
give you
slice
like
the
a
bread, like, so you get it like sandwiches? Because like, I've tried to do exactly that philosophy. Like, I go to the farmer's market, get this amazing bread from this place called ACQ, but then when I try to slice it for, like, sandwiches, it's, like, falling apart and, like, crumbs are going everywhere.
So there's two ways to do that. One is, I mean, it depends on the bread you're getting. Some is better than others. Luckily with Roxana, they'll slice it for you if you want to, and I'll do that a lot.
Oh,
But
well,
also, if I
that makes it
want,
easier.
sometimes I want like a thicker one. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll cut it in half first, and then flip it up
Yeah,
this way, and then go that way.
do
And
those
having
little
it
slip.
be, uh, let it sit for like a couple hours. Otherwise, if it's like too soft and fresh, it'll
Yeah,
kind of crumble.
harder
Um,
to slice. That's a good
but
advice to
also,
let it sit out. Yeah.
a higher whole wheat percentage will also be easier to slice. Typically, it will be a little bit denser than like a super soft like sourdough or something.
Sidebar, when I was in college, I was a waiter at a restaurant, and they asked me to put this bread through the slicer. It was like a really nice loaf of bread, but I
Yeah.
accidentally put it in through the wrong way. Like, I put it lengthwise and not horizontal, and I was so embarrassed and terrified I was going to get yelled at. I just threw it away and covered it in paper towels, and then grabbed another loaf and did it the right way. So if anybody's
You
watching from Murphy's in Atlanta, I'm sorry I did that 30 years ago.
you could have made some epic crostini with those super wide
Yeah,
slices.
probably. What is your go-to knife? Everyone wants to know what your knife is.
Everyone's asking.
Yeah.
I kind of believe in there's like two kinds of knives you want. I
Okay.
like to have like one kind of Western knife, like this is like an old Wusthof I've had forever,
I don't think
and
I
then
have that.
like a more kind of Japanese thinner blade that is for more like delicate cutting. And this
Mhm.
one I would use to like break down a whole chicken,
Yeah.
whereas I don't want to use like a more delicate thin blade for that.
That's really good advice because it's like, yeah, with a chicken cutting through bone, if you have like a nice knife that you've been working on getting the blade sharp, it's like you're kind of denting it and screwing it up.
Yeah. I mean, if you're really nailing it, it'll still work. There's a
Hello.
cameo from my wife.
Hi.
Um, but yeah, so that's a good one for me. But the truth is, the answer is probably just like a really sharp paring knife that you like use to cut fruit and do that kind of stuff all the time.
Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. I feel like your family is coming alive. So, my final question to you, and this is always my final question: what is your go-to dish soap?
Oh, my go-to dish. I mean, it's like Cascade or Dawn. It's like,
Oh, okay.
I've tried to use like the good for the environment
Yeah.
soaps, but I find you end up using so much
Mrs.
more of it.
Myers.
Yeah.
They're
I
good.
like their hand
I
soap.
like Joy. Joy is my go-to.
I just find that like these companies spend millions and millions of dollars figuring out how to make really efficient soap that
Hmm.
works really well.
Yeah.
And so I find that I'll waste less soap, waste less water, and I'll buy less soap. And so I think, just like like when you buy detergent, you buy the hippie stuff that you have to use hot water with, whereas like the big old box of powdered Tide, you can wash your clothes on cold and they come out great. And so
Yeah.
it's better for the environment to use cold water than to use hippie soap that probably doesn't actually help that much more.
Well, that's a good place to end. So, Noah, thank you so much. And I'm very excited for your new book. Show us one more time,
Yeah,
real time.
it is available for pre-order now everywhere you buy books. If
And you're
you
going on a
wanted,
book tour?
yeah, end of May. I haven't announced it yet, but it's looking like a 20 city tour.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's a lot of
It's a
cities.
crazy one. It's a lot of it's the reverse. My wife's usually the one who's
Yeah.
on the road while at home, and this is the going to be a little backwards one this year. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be in New York. I'll invite you to my event out there in Brooklyn. I'll be doing. That's going to be a blast. And
Do you
yeah,
know
and if
where it's going
anybody
to be?
wants, I do. I guess I can announce it now. It's not. We don't have ticket links up yet, but it's going to be with Best Pizza in
Oh,
Williamsburg, and we're
cool.
going to have cocktails from Maison Premier. So it's going to
Nice.
be
Oh,
a
that'll be
fun
so
little time.
fun.
And then, yeah, and if you want a personalized copy, to go to Now Serving, an amazing bookstore here in Los
Uh,
Angeles, you go to the look for the link on there, and you can buy a personalized copy. And I will literally personalize them, and they will get shipped to you that way.
and they're a great store. They're just like great people who they're worth supporting.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Noah. Well, have a good rest of your day, and thank
Thanks,
you. This
Adam.
was great. I'm going to go buy an oat groat machine when we hang up.
You must have a German flick flock.
A German flick flock. That's what I'm going to find. All right. Have a good day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
Bye.